Hey, what's up, garden friends? How's everybody doing? I hope you're good. I'm great. Picked up some really cute containers a while ago, like a long while ago on clearance, and gonna go ahead and toss some succulents in here and make them look kind of pretty. I know these may not be everybody's taste, but I like bold, vibrant colors, and you know, I try and do a variety of things here on the channel, and this is a little bit more catered towards me and maybe my horrible taste, but somebody else out there may like it and maybe can just take little bits of inspiration from it. I don't know, but I'm excited about it. So for starters, these are actually vases. They don't have any holes in the bottom, which isn't always a big deal. You can just water your succulents very, very, very lightly. But I keep mine outside during the spring, summer, and part of the fall. So I want holes in the bottom of these so that if it rains, and even though they're probably going to be somewhere sheltered, I still want the water to be able to drain out very, very easily. Drilling holes in ceramic pottery really isn't a big deal. Just go ahead and use a driver with a diamond bit in it. You want to use a diamond bit. That part's very important. As I'm drilling, I make sure water is running through this to keep the particles moving out of it. I apply light pressure, and then I apply heavy pressure, and I kind of go back and forth with that until it's all the way through, but slower is better. Oh, and if you have an extender to put on there to keep that drill bit pushed a little bit further out from the chuck, that's probably a good idea, because really it's not great to have water shooting up in there like I have right here. So I'm gonna have to make sure to open that up and let it dry thoroughly now that that's happened. All right, holes are dug. Let's go ahead and plant these up. Went ahead and filled these up with some potting mix. This is a cactus blend, just a sandy, kind of gritty mixture that'll drain really sharply. Really cute cactus here, it has a little arm on it. It just sold as an assorted cactus. You know what? I'm actually not crazy about this. Mostly because there are a few issues here. Really one main issue, and it's the cactus. We're moving into winter time now, and that cactus isn't going to want to be watered like those succulents are. So I have a different idea. Something more simple. And I remembered that I need these succulents for a different project. That's just, I got excited. It just happens sometimes. So I'm gonna pull this apart. I'm gonna do something much more simple, but I think it's gonna look a lot better than this. I don't really even like how this looks, but that, yeah, the cactus poses a problem. It's not going to want water. I already said all this. Okay, all right. Time to fix it. See, I have these Echeverias here. Really, I just have a couple of Echeverias, but I think that the like dramatic colors in them is going to play well in these. They're shallow rooted, which is nice. I'll go over all that in just a minute. Hey, there we go. I have to say I like this a lot more. Since these pots are so colorful and a little bit chaotic as it is, having a different arrangement in each one of them I think would have just been too much, doing one plant per pot. I mean, I guess there's two plants in here because I have this, what is this? Who are you? This is the Othonna Capensis rubra. Has more of a reddish hint to it. And I actually just pulled that from this planter over here. This is a succulent clamshell planter I did, I don't know, a few months ago. You can just pull these right off, stick them just a little bit below the soil or even right on top of it, and they'll root right in, no problem. These are super easy to grow. I did make sure to top dress the soil with some sand, which I don't think is going to focus. I really like the pinks and blues with the orange and the greens with the blues. This guy down here, a little bit more washed out, but that's okay, because over time, this is a burro's tail or donkey's tail. Wait a minute, I need to finish these. These aren't done yet, then I'll talk about the plants. I want to add just a little bit more embellishment to these since they're going to be inside. I like to have sand or gravel between my succulents and the soil just to prevent moisture from wicking up onto them. Helps prevent rot, but since these are going inside, I want to do a little bit more than that, so it's going to be kind of hard to do with the burro's tail that was just down there. It's down there, because that one filled out the pot a lot more, but you'll see what I'm talking about. I have these really, really pretty rocks here. These are Amazonite. They're kind of a bluish hue to them. You can't, well, why won't, the sun's not behaving today. There we go, you can kind of see them now. So you can see they have this fun bluish hue to them, really a nice kind of aqua cerulean. I'm not great with color shades, maybe they're green, I don't know, but they're very pleasing to my eyes. Because of that, I think that these are going to look really pretty placed around the base of this Echeveria. You can see some of them have these inclusions in them. Those are probably some of my favorite ones. Okay, so that's the Amazonite, having that blue in there with the orange. I think that looks nice. Now for the aloe. I think this is a tree aloe. I actually think this is Aloe Zanzibarica, but I'm not positive. I'll have to look it up. So for this one, for the blue pot with that aloe in it, I'm using this peacock ore, which apparently was, I think, sold for jewelry making because they'll have little holes in them. I don't care, that's fine. Because they're multi-chrome and rainbowy, what's not to love about that? So this pot poses a little bit more of a problem because there's really not any room to work with in this guy. So, but I still want to put something else in there. I actually think that peacock ore or the amazonite, either one of those would look really good in here, but I feel like they all need to be different. I think I may have come up with a solution with this one. I have these tiny little, whoa, focus and stop spilling. I have these tiny little chips of quartz and amethyst here. I think that those will fill in nicely. I wish it was just all amethyst because the purple and the yellow, that would look nice together, but it is what it is. But I also have these nice little pieces of lepidolite, which is a really pretty purple stone that's very, 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 very sparkly. I don't know how well that's going to show on camera, but these are really pretty. I think they're gonna be too big for this though. So I only managed to get one tiny little piece of the lepidolite in there, down in there, but that's fine. I just kind of like knowing that I have my 3 different, like some of my favorites in each one of these. I'm pretty crazy about the peacock ore in there. That might be one of my favorite ones out of all of these. But okay, let's talk about the plants real quick. In the back, in this orange planter, that is, I believe, Echeveria, I believe that's Echeveria Pearl von Nürnberg. I believe it came as an assorted. Its leaves are longer and a little bit more thin than the Pearl von Nürnberg, but that could just be because of the lighting and growing conditions. I'm not positive. It's reminiscent of that Echeveria to me, but it was an assorted. I don't really like to give names to a cactus, succulent, or orchids, especially if they don't actually have a label. But I'm thinking it's somewhere in there, some hybrid of that. Maybe. I don't know for sure. Then trailing over the front, as I had mentioned before, that is the Othonna Capensis. The variety is called rubra. The rubra just has a little bit more of a reddish hue to its stems, and it's really pretty. Their leaves can be a little bit further apart, but the more light this gets, the more close together that foliage will be. And then over here in the pretty blue pot, the peacock ore in it, that is the Zanzibar aloe or Aloe Zanzibarica. I think I called it Zanzibarensis earlier. That's not what it's called. Zanzibarica. They have heavily toothed leaves, and they get, I think, about 1 to 2 feet tall, which is pretty tall for this pot, but they are shallow-rooted plants. I'll get into that in a minute. These are one of the easiest succulents I have ever grown. Basically, I just don't really water it very often at all and give it a lot of light, and it just does its thing. I absolutely love it. You see the foliage has multiple different shades of green in there, some white speckling, really cool texture. Just a cool plant. Okay, and now the little guy. Burros tail, donkey's tail. This variety is called El Burrito. This is a fun trailing succulent. Over time, it's eventually going to start to fill out and drape down the front of this pot. These look really, really cool when they get going. They get pretty big too. They'll just keep going and going and going. And when that happens, I can cut the ends off and pot them up somewhere else, or just repot this whole thing altogether. As I mentioned before, the reason I went ahead and changed up the plan here was because the cactus don't really want to be watered during the winter time with the shorter day length and less light, whereas with these particular succulents, they're going to be more active during the winter time and want the watering. So it didn't make sense to me to have them mixed together. It's just easier this way, and I like the idea of having something different in each one, and it was too much having an arrangement in each. I like this a lot better. I also really like the idea of using succulents for these because they tend to be more shallow rooted. You can see these pots are much smaller at the top as they are on the bottom, which means when it becomes time to go ahead and repot these, oh, that lighting's so much better. Hope that cloud stays there. Like I was saying, a lot of other plants would go ahead and fill this out very, very, very heavily with roots and make it really hard to get them out when it's time to repot them. Whereas with these, it probably won't be as much of an issue, and since they're succulents, I can cut them and pull them apart and just repot them, replant them elsewhere and root them much more easily. Not as much with the Echeveria, and that is actually one of the reasons I did the Echeveria in this particular orange pot, not just because I kind of like the purpley pinks with the orange, but also because it's not quite as small and the top is in the bottom, so when it comes time to pull it out, I can just kind of lift it out, no big deal. Oh, this lighting is so much better. There's something about filming in the fall, the angle of the sun, it's really hard to film when there's sun out, and then when the sun's gone, it's also really hard to film. Sort of a double-edged sword. As I mentioned before, these are just quartz and amethyst. I probably shouldn't even have bothered with it because there's really not much room in here for them. And these burros tail, the donkey's tail, they're going to fill out. This entire top's going to be covered, so you won't even be able to see those over time, but I just really wanted to make sure that that crystal mineral theme was carried through with all 3 of them. Just think it looks better that way, because the pots are already so colorful and eclectic. I was like, why not go ahead and dress them up even more with some of my favorite things, which are the peacock or Amazonite, and amethyst is one of my favorites. Lepidolite's one of my all-time favorites, but that wasn't gonna fit in these. You know what? And actually, I think this could use a little bit more. I'd like for these to fill out the top as much as possible. Oh, it's so pretty. Isn't that peacock ore just absolutely beautiful? I love all the different colors on them. They shift in the light, just gorgeous. Oh, almost forgot about watering. I'm gonna use the syringe here. I think these are called catheter syringes, but I'm not positive. The syringes are nice because you can go ahead, get that water down in there without it getting onto the foliage. It's particularly useful in setups like this, where if you water it heavily, you're going to have sand and soil going all over the place. These are succulent, so I'm gonna be letting them dry extremely thoroughly in between waterings. I'll probably only be watering these once to maybe twice a month during the winter time. It all just kind of depends on the winter, really. Sometimes we have really cloudy winters, sometimes they're really like super bright and sunny, so we'll just have to see with that. It's one of those things where you kind of just have to get to know the plants and see what they like. But in a more broad sense, indoors, yeah, I'm not gonna be watering them a ton. I will fertilize them when they are in active growth. I'll probably use a tomato fertilizer. Tomato fertilizer has a lot of calcium in it, helps build nice strong cell walls, get that good healthy root system going. Succulents and cactus just seem to do really well with it. My gosh, this lighting is so inconsistent. Wish I could tell the clouds to go ahead and pick a lane. Oh wow, that's really pretty. I think I know where the sun might be. All right, sorry, got distracted. But okay, that's all. This is a project I've actually wanted to get done for a pretty long time and just hadn't had the chance to get around it and get all the materials together. I got almost all of these stones off of Amazon. Thanks for hanging out with me while I played around with these things, kind of put something together, take it apart. You can kind of see the process my head goes through, some of the logic and whatnot when trying to iron out the details to make sure that things are as easy as possible and that the plants will grow as well as possible. I hope everybody's doing well. Don't forget to leave the video a thumbs up. It helps a ton, helps the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And subscribe as well. I upload multiple times a week, and hit that notification bell. That way you know when new videos come out. My gosh, that was a... Oh, someone's singing? Comment down below. I love hearing from everybody. I'm trying to film a bit. It's okay. Who doesn't love the sound of birds chirping, right? I have all my social media linked down below, down there in the description of the video. Follow me and I'll follow you back. I have a blast seeing everybody's gardens and what everybody's up to. I'm on Instagram more than anything else. All right, as always, everybody, most importantly, keep on growing. Bye.